Hello YouTube, this is John from Graybeard 3D, and today I'm going to be working on these linear rails I received from Project R3D. These are the Zyltech rails. This is out of the package, and it's just not any good. This is the worst one though, to be honest. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and get started here. So we're going to work on these, get them all fixed up, and hopefully get some good rails out of it. So again, welcome. We're going to look at these rails. You can hear on these rails some grit and whatnot as you go up and down on the rail. So we're going to look at these and look at some possible solutions, and if needed, we're going to rebuild them. So yeah, just hold tight. So I have these rails here. This is the good one I got. It pretty much out of the thing just works for me. It's very smooth. It feels like glass. I really like it a lot. This was right out of the package, and that's fine. The next rail is one I've been working on. I ended up rebuilding this 3 times, trying different techniques, and I finally have it to a point where I'm pretty happy with it. I do feel a little bit of a catch on there, but it's nowhere near what it was. So tonight we're going to look at these and possibly rebuild these others if they exhibit the same behavior. Now I noticed something with these rails. They are side specific, so depending on which side is up, I might feel more grit one way or another. And knowing that, I might mark the top of the rail. So just to see, which, face it in the direction where the weight is going to be. Make sure I have my YouTube chat up. So, yeah, just looking at these, and you can see in there, you can see all the balls, see if any are missing throughout the run there. I did that with this rail. There are no missing balls. I have taken it apart 3 or 4 times, individually counted the balls, made sure nothing was missing. Now this is one I haven't worked on yet. This one, yeah, see right there, it's caught real bad, and it's catching that whole way, so it's stuttering down there. So, and I'm putting a little bit of weight on it to kind of simulate if it was in the printer, it would have some weight being applied in that direction anyway. So I'm not putting a whole lot, but just enough to be similar to what it might see in a printer. So, and that's that side. The other side might be worse or better. Oh, this side feels better. It barely feels like it's catching at all. So, interesting, this one has, it looks like a little heart drawn on it, and a number 2 below. So I don't know what that means, but yeah, it's very jittery, depending on which way I'm using it. And I don't know if that's coming through on the camera that you can see it. Maybe if I use, see, yeah, it's stuck enough where I have to use a little bit more force on it. So the first trick, or the first tip with this would be, okay, well, one, see if you see any missing balls in there, and you just want to check in that channel and go through your run, and you want to look for any balls that are missing. Now, there is usually a small gap in the way these are constructed, so if you see one small gap, that's okay. And I know that's not coming through on camera real well. I'm trying here. But one small gap is okay, but a gap more than a ball width is not okay. If you do end up taking these apart, there should be 33 balls per channel. So that's 66 balls per carriage. So, and this side feels really good. So whatever it is, I think it's that top side. Now you can, just in case, give the rail itself a good wipe down, just in case something else is in there. So you can do that. The other thing you can do is get some nice lube for it. And this is before you take it all apart, because it's going to be a lot of work. So I have this tube of super lube. It's got PTFE in it. and it's got a very nice applicator that works perfectly to fit in the little oiling hole that you see right, let me get that on camera, that little oiling hole right there. It fits perfectly on there. Try and get a focus for you guys. But so you just want to get one little drop in there. So I got a drop in there, and then I'm going to do the other side because there's an oiling hole on each side. It does equally distribute. You really should only have to do one side, but I'm just going to make sure that I don't have anything, really going on in there. And then I'm going to run it back and forth a few times to see if it helps clear it up. Yeah, so it's interesting when it arrived. There's a lot to prepare when you first get it. Tapping all the extrusions is a lot of fun. It wasn't as bad as most people made it out, but do you know when yours arrives? I haven't done my heat press either. I haven't put in the threaded inserts yet, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so it feels like it's still catching. So I might take this one apart. See, it feels it right there. Yeah. Yeah, every once in a while it catches. Now I'm worried, if it does this little stutter while it's going down the printer, the belt is going to overcome the little catches, but probably not before some vibration goes through the mechanism. With a little bit of flex, in various components, that vibration can end up on surfaces. Now, if you're moving real fast on it, and I know that sound must be super annoying, yeah, if you're going real fast on the carriage, it doesn't really bind. But I'm worried about perimeters where, the print quality is supposed to be extra good, and you're also moving slower than normal, and that's where I think this is going to come back and haunt me. So I'll see if I'm going to take that apart. Now, something you can do, we do have 6 rails here. If we end up with 3 really good ones, you could be okay because the others can go on your Z. The Z is not as critical. So I'm going to move the really good one. This is the one that was out of the package. I don't have to do much to make it move. And then the one I worked on earlier today, it's not quite as easy, but it's improved a lot. That one, 3 or 4 weeks. Okay, so it shouldn't be too bad. You probably only have another 2 weeks to wait. I'll tell you, it looks like a really nice kit. There are obvious choices in here. The Zyltech rails are a compromise because the really, really nice rails are like 3 times more expensive. Maybe 4 times more expensive. So they had to keep the kit at some sort of reasonable cost. So this one is feeling kind of okay. I do have a little bit of grind every once in a while, like right there, I just felt it. And I don't know, it must be a particular ball or a particular point in the channel. You can take these off too. You want to do it carefully because these things can pop out. And on there, you will see the 2 gaps. There's a gap right there, and then there's a gap up there. Yeah, it does look like a daunting build. I'm hoping that Joe Mike finishes his build and they continue working on that documentation a little bit more before I jump fully in. But yeah, I've been watching his videos too. So, and we can see when we rub our finger over these, the balls move through the channel. That's just fine. You want to be careful with this too. It does help. You can buy a pack of balls in case you somehow mess one of these up. You just want to make sure you get the right size, and I'll post a link to that in the description. So this one seems to be moving that way okay too, and it's moving that way okay. So the one I rebuilt earlier today, it would not move in one direction with just doing this. So I had to tear it completely down. But I found a good way of tearing them down. I also have a neat little trick. If a ball pops out on you, I don't know if I can get a ball to pop out on purpose, but let's see what happens. So yeah, it might be difficult for me to get one to pop on purpose. So the only thing holding these balls in is this thin metal rod here. And that thin metal rod is clamped on both sides. But that thing will flex so the balls can just pop right out. That's most likely going to happen. If you put this in at an angle or off kilter, it's going to pop one of those out. And that's usually the one time that that would happen. If I dropped this carriage, I'm sure I would lose a few balls too. So when you're putting this in, you want to carefully guide it in, and you want to watch the balls at this end and see if they start to bunch up at all. If they start to bunch up, that means they're about to pop. And once you get it to a point, we're almost there. Once you get it to a point, then you're good, and then you're fine. But usually withdrawing the rail is fine. It's just when you're putting it in, you want to watch for any to bunch up. I'm going to hold this rail for now. It seems like it's doing okay, especially after that lube. So it seems like it helped it a lot. So I'm going to hold on to that one, maybe not rebuild it. I know this last one is really bad. We'll see if the lube helps it too. And we'll check this one. This one seems okay. When I first got these, they had little blue zip ties. The zip ties keep the rail from moving back and forth, but you can only move it this much, and it seemed like all of them felt really bad while the zip ties were on. But once I got the zip ties off and I started running them up and down the rails, they improved a lot. Yeah, this one's feeling okay too. I'm going to give it a little bit of oil. Probably just one side, because it all circulates, so one side should be enough. So we have our hole there, we have our oil pen, and we'll put some in. And you want to pull it away instead of letting it suck it back up, because it will just suck it right back up. And then we'll go ahead and run it a few times. Yeah, I'm sure that noise is annoying for everybody. Alright, let's look at this one. Yeah, this one's feeling good now too. So far, there were two that were kind of bad, although that one might have recovered just by adding the oil. The one I've worked on all day, like I said, I had to rebuild it 3 times to get it right. This last one, I'm probably going to rebuild, even if the oil helps it, because it feels really, really bad, and we're going to check it for a few things. So let's see this one. Yeah, so I don't know if you can hear it, but it's just grinding the whole way. I don't know if the stutter even shows up on the camera. It also has a heart on it, which is interesting. I think it's a heart, or it's a weird B or 3 or something. Yeah, so you can hear it. It's something is wrong in there. So we'll go ahead and take a look. First thing we'll do, just like last time, we'll give the rail a good wipe down. When I'm wiping it down, I'm getting my fingernails inside the groove, and I'm just pulling all the way down. And then do the other side a little bit. and then go ahead. We're going to oil both sides here. So, because it is so bad. Let's see. Let's get some oil. And there's a lot of air in the line, so I had to get past all the air bubbles. So, let's see if this helps a little bit. So, have you built a printer before? Do you have any printers right now, or is this going to be your first? First kit, first 3D printer. Yeah. That's a little bit of a deep end. Take your time. 3D printing is great. This is I wouldn't say this is a super advanced kit, but this is a bigger kit than most. Yeah, you'll have a blast. What do you plan to print with it? Do you have ideas, or are you looking at all the tchotchkes or the awesome models that everybody puts together, or are you doing drones or RC cars? So many people have different uses. I always like to see what people are doing with them. All right, I will say I'm surprised this one cleared up so well. It felt so bad earlier. So, you know what? Out of all these, I think the worst one is still the first one I worked on. I still can't get it to be perfect. Yeah, this one feels really good now. That one's great. I can go back in the pile over here. Sorry for reaching across. Yeah, practical parts. Have you started looking at Fusion 360 or other 3D modeling software? So, yeah, practical prints are great, especially, I mean, usually the best solutions are the ones where it's really a custom problem for you. Because if it's not a custom problem for you, it means you can probably run to a store and buy it, which, you know, yeah, we have a 3D printer, but for a lot less time and effort, I can just go buy whatever the widget is. But if you have a custom problem that's unique to you, like a particular door needs something, or who knows what. I think Tom had that garden hose kind of, it's not a winder, it was to go around the corner of his building. I thought that was a great use of it. Okay, great. Yeah, Fusion 360 is I like it a lot. I've used many others, and not to say anything bad about them, but I found Fusion 360 to be one of the best. All right, so I'm actually after running through these, they're feeling a lot better than they did in the packages. I'll probably tear one down for the heck of it. I'm just seeing which one I think is the worst out of the bunch, but just for YouTube viewing, I'll do a teardown and a rebuild. But I'm looking for the bad one. And I'll have to go tell R3D that you know, these ended up not being as bad as they seemed when they were fresh out of the package. So we'll go ahead and tear this one down. All right. This did seem like the one that was still kind of catching just a little bit. Probably not enough to warrant a teardown. You do want to feel both sides. You want to see if it catches on one side or the other more than or not, and then maybe even consider marking which side it runs smoother on and keeping that as the weight bearing side, so face that one up. However, we do need 3 for the Z, so if you have any that catch, just put it on the Z and you'll be okay there. Yeah, it tends to be a, what would you call it, a solution looking for a problem sometimes, but I do like to find things to do with it. So there are 4 screws that hold this together, 2 on each side, and the first step obviously is to remove the 4 screws. I do recommend, like I'm doing this over a paper towel here, and then under that I have like this mat. If a ball starts to roll, it's not going to roll far on these surfaces. Don't expect the balls just to come flying out or anything like that. But so this is a wiper. It's rubberized, and it just kind of like runs along the path to catch anything that might get into the bearings itself. This side here you see the 2 ends of the metal clips, and they fit right there. The other side is completely identical and interchangeable. So and I do recommend before you take any of these apart, have your spare bearings. I got mine from BC Precision, I think is what it's called. Yeah, BC Precision. They are 3 32nd inch G25 precision chromium chrome steel ball bearings. You see that pops through. So, yeah, $4.45 for those things. Does that look like 100? I know it's at least 66 because I ended up putting those. So that one rail I had a real hard time with. I ended up rebuilding it once. Then after I did that, I still wasn't happy. So then I went in and replaced all the balls with these. And these had like a different type of, I think they're slightly thicker because it was smooth when it rolled, but it wasn't free flowing. Like, and I'm sure the motors have no problem with it. It wasn't catching as much, but it was tighter, and I didn't really like that either. So, let me see. So to get these metal clips out, you need something really pointy. I have a really tiny flat screwdriver that I was using. I can't even get it to focus. Like it's like an eyeglass screwdriver. That kind of worked, but it was still kind of tricky. So now I'm using a razor because that's what I saw somebody else do. So you just want to get under this wire and get it over the edge. Come on, razor. Maybe my razor's not sharp enough for it. It's definitely not good enough. It keeps going back inside the tool. Yeah, my razor tip might not be good enough. This one's going. There we go. So it popped loose. Let me see if I get it to focus at all. It's not going to focus for us, is it? Let's see. There's my hand. Let's see. I followed my hand. Okay. So you see it's out of position right there. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that off. And that popped loose, and then you can see some of the balls have fallen out of position there. Now, and I'll try to show you a trick with this too, but for now, we'll just go ahead and pull this apart. There goes the balls. Didn't necessarily want to pour them there, but that's okay. They don't really go far. I have this one here, and if you want, you can count out. You know, especially when you're doing your own, you can count out. Make sure you have all 33. So, and there's still going to be balls inside. So there's a whole channel on the inside running through there. So, but we're not going to worry about those too much at this point in time. We're going to try to get this other end of this clip off. All right. So we have our 2 wires. Once you've done that, there go the balls. So I'll tell you what I did when I rebuilt the other one, and it actually worked out well for me. So I'm trying out this one ball that I can't pick up. What I did that worked really well for me before was I did this over my bucket, and I'll show you the bucket soon, because that bucket helped keep contained. And then once the balls are out, you want to be careful because there can still be balls trapped in these channels, especially if it's heavily oiled. Once the balls are out, then you can go ahead and just pull these off. They just pull straight off. And then from that, these green things actually come apart. So you can pull on that, and then you can see inside, and you can see the channel on both sides. And that channel is what recirculates the balls. And we'll do that on the other one. Pull that apart. And then what I have here is a more or less a cup of half water and half rubbing alcohol, isopropyl alcohol. And then we're just going to put all the parts in there. So kind of let them soak up a little bit. I don't know if I should go to the rubber parts or not. The rubber parts don't matter so much. Sorry about that. Let me try it. Hey! How's it going? Let me try to mute this while my dog barks at me. I don't know where the mute button is. This is my first time using this OBS stuff. Oh well. Okay, so that's a mess of balls. Try not to lose any. As I said, if you do lose any, have some on hand. But we're just going to go ahead and get them all in there. I mean, why not, right? There. So, with that, we can start with the block. Now, after you do this, the alcohol is going to remove like a lot of the protective oil on these parts, so you don't really want to like leave them in the water, or you don't want to leave them damp. But you do want to wipe them all down pretty well. And then after that, we'll probably apply a little bit of oil to it. How's it going tonight? All right. And what I found works really well with this, these little round toothpicks. Let me show you which ones. These Diamond Elegance toothpicks. They seem to be the perfect size to fit down these channels. These are the channels that the balls are going down. I can actually, it feels kind of rough in there. So I dip it a little bit in the water solution. Just one, it kind of softens the wood up, but two, it'll make it feel, or make it swell a little bit. So, and then I'm just rubbing it in a few times. Try to get any material out of there that may have been built up, factory oil or anything like that. Oh, so I have an echo. My apologies for that. Let's see. capture mic aux. Can you still hear me? Oh, and I left that thing up. See? No, I didn't. Okay, no, I'm good. That's my, okay. Can you guys still hear me? Maybe you can't hear me. Alright, I turned it back on, whatever I turned off. I don't know, I'll have to mess with OBS a little bit more. It's kind of hard to diagnose your own stream without doing it. Sounds good now, or sounded good before? So, I think the channels are pretty good there. I went through it a few times with the toothpick, and I'm just wiping it up and give it a little visual inspection. Make sure you don't see anything down the channels. With that, I'm going to take a little bit of the paper towel here, get a little oil on it, make sure I'm on scene here, and just kind of go over the body here just a little bit, make sure there's nothing, just make it all shiny and whatnot. So the rest of this, like the inside of the channel and everything else, is going to be taken care of once we oil the main, the bearings and everything. So let's grab a new paper towel. Paper towels are your friend. Alright. Get these little rails out. Dab them a little bit. Not much to do with these. Don't bend them. That's important. They are thin. And we'll go ahead and just set those aside. Okay, get these out. So let me dry it off. Alright, so the balls are running. Let me use this side of this. And are we in focus at all? Stay in focus? No. Refuse to stay in focus. Come on. This is why I should get a DSLR. Come on. I hate the exposure on this and I hate the white mouse. But the balls run right across this little groove here. So you want to just make sure, and you can do it with just the toothpick as well, just make sure that there isn't any kind of like excess plastic or maybe grease of some sort or anything else, just right along that little channel right there. So pretty easy. It's very accessible too. The other pieces are a little bit harder to clean up, but these little round toothpicks seem to do the perfect job. Alright, so same thing. Just make sure that we don't feel it rub or catch on any kind of excess plastic from the manufacturing. And you can also visually inspect it. But any little bit of excess plastic right there is just going to immediately be a catch and cause problems. Alright, let's see. So this is the bigger piece of it. Let's try to get all the moisture out of it. So let's try to keep that in focus. Right inside here are where the balls do a U-turn. So they're on the outside, they go right in that, and they do a U-turn, and they go through the inner channel of the block, that hole there. So anything on anything inside of these channels is going to cause an issue. So you can use that toothpick again, the little back of it, not the pointy end, just the back of it, and just make sure there's nothing in there. Also on these channels are very, very fine little pointy bits. You don't want to damage these pointy bits. Let me see if I can get the focus back for you guys. Before you turn it back on, now you have an echo. Okay, so, alright, I've turned it off. How do I sound now? Wonder how long the delay is on the chat. Alright, I'm going to assume this is working. I see little lights moving. Okay, so yeah, we just want to make sure that this is good, and you know, you can re-dip this if needed, just to kind of make sure that you get anything out of there. I think on one of them, there was something caked in there, and I was able to get out. And then, of course, as I said, you want to watch out for these pointy bits. Don't damage them in any sort of way. They actually catch the ball going in, and if they're damaged in any sort of way, they're going to get hung up on the ball. And I don't know if I can get these pointy bits to show up. So you can kind of see them on the profile. Come on, focus, focus. But they're right there. Okay. I see. Okay. So, say cheese. Much better. Thank you, Kit. Alright, so I wish I knew that that was a second input of audio. I am learning OBS Studio. I do apologize. Alright, so that one's good now. And the last piece, other than the 66 balls. I'll probably leave a few balls out on purpose, so I can show you a technique of getting the balls in pretty easily after the fact. Maybe if you're putting on the carriage and a few pop out on you, an easy way to get them together. So, and then we'll run through these channels, make sure that there's nothing in them. Again, we don't want to damage these 2 points, so we just want to kind of work on the insides here. So. All right. How you doing tonight, Kit? Ha. One raz. So everybody else is up late, just the same as I am, huh? All right. So we have all these parts cleaned. Let's try to take care of these bearings. So I use just a simple plastic spoon here. Give them a little stir. Try to break free any of the factory oils. I also use a little plastic spoon because these things are impossible to pick up. Again, this is a solution of water and isopropyl alcohol. You gotta watch these little guys, they like to run away. You know, it's like getting the very last piece of cereal out of the bowl. It wants to run away from your spoon. No? Come on. I'll try and do this without getting as much water on my towel as possible. Yeah, that was a bad one. Okay. That's all the bearings. sure none stuck to the other side. Okay. Just gonna roll them away from the wet spot here. These things are tiny. This is why I do suggest, if you're getting a rail core, buy a bag of extra bearings. One of these pops off, you're not going to find it again. I'm prepared. You got some rails from China, huh? Yeah, so you'll probably be doing this too. The Zyltech rails are supposedly a little bit better QC'd than some of the rails from China. I don't know how to validate that or anything else like that, but the old-fashioned way of getting rid of moisture. All right. I looked at the Voron. I was considering doing a Voron before I settled on the rail core. And I want to say, oh, I forgot the channels here. So don't forget to do this. You want to put the other half of the green thing on. So it just lines up and it creates these channels again. And I'll do this one here. It's pretty simple construction. Where these things fall apart is on the tolerance. Okay. So yeah, you want to put, I mean, you could try to feed it in that channel, but you really want to put just both green ends on, and then start feeding the balls back into it. Somebody might make a little 3D printable funnel. That might help. I just end up taking some of these and throwing them in here, and some will roll back out, and some will fall into the channel properly. So you want to get them right there. Let's see, come on, let's see, slate. So you get the balls in the channel, and then you can roll it, and they should roll down into the inner channel. And you just keep feeding them in. Now what did they do with the Voron 2.1 versus the regular 2.0? Come on. So that ball is, there we go. Yeah, I'll tell you what though, taking these apart isn't as bad as I thought it would be. Everybody talks about how bad these are, and so I was a little nervous about it. Do I have them all yet? I think I'm still missing a few in here. One more. See, I pushed it and like 4 fell out. So that's okay though, because I want to show you how to put in a few with the rail in place. This rail here can go on either side. In fact, all of these parts are interchangeable with either side, so you don't really have to worry about it. And just like before, it has like this little L shape on it. I don't know if I can get that to show up. That little L foot on there goes right in a little L groove on the side of this thing. Let me see if I can get that to focus. Focus. No. But you can see the balls in there too. So, um, so you just want to get one side on the L, take the other end over, and more or less push it down. I did find this is a common occurrence. If the metal bar goes to the back, it just won't want to go into place at all. You don't want to sit there and try to pry it from that point. You really want to get it over where it should be and push it straight down. So I'm going to try to pull that forward a little bit, because once it goes in that back, it's kind of a pain in the butt. So I'll use the toothpick to bring it back out. And I'm sorry, this is not going to come through on camera real well for you. All right, so you heard the little snap. And you want to verify. See, it didn't seat all the way. You just want to verify it seats all the way. There. So I have that in. And you can see clearly pretty big gap there. It's more than usual. You want a gap of about 1 ball, and that looks like maybe 2 or 3. So here's the secret I learned is a decent flathead. This is a 1/8 flathead, and it's slightly magnetic. And you can pick up a ball with it, and you can more or less get it behind the rail, and then with the flat end you can push it into the rail, just like that. So that really saves some time. And let's check the gap again. So see that gap there? That's exactly what you're looking for. So it's about 1 ball. All right, then we flip it over with that rail in place. So it's going to hold all the balls in place, and we just do the other side. Yeah, I think I have all the printed parts to a Voron 1.5. I just never got around to ordering all the other parts for it. I self-sourced a printer once. It just wasn't fun. I had bad luck. Just forcing the balls to go into the bottom channel. So these obviously aren't oiled right now. We should have stripped just about everything off of them. So right now it won't be as smooth, but once we get it put back together, we will oil it. I should show you I should have shown you how the oil works while I had it apart. Sorry about that. So let's see if I can show you this part. Come on. So the balls tend to go to this back area, and you just want to kind of tilt it forward a little bit so the ball falls into the channel. 3 balls left. If I can get it without getting a paper towel on it. Oh. And maybe I'll leave, come on, I'll leave 1 ball off so I can show you the little screwdriver thing again. You absolutely do not need to leave 1 ball off to put this rail back on. So again, we just want to line up the 2 sides. Oh, I lost another ball anyway. Line up the 2 sides. This is why you want to do this over a surface where the balls aren't going to roll away from you. And so we have it there. Let's see if we can get the focus. Not really sure. Oh, it was already 2.1. Okay. Focus, focus, focus. I think I'm losing balls. No, I'm okay. And just try to pull this over here. that side's in. I'll double check that side. So you just want to check your ends. That should be good now. You want to make sure that's fully seated, both of these two wires. Now, that hole there is the oil hole. These are the screw holes. There is a channel running from this oil hole all the way up into this recirculator on both sides. And the channel goes around the two screws as well, and it has enough clearance for the oil to go through. And it's like that on both sides. You shouldn't actually have to oil both sides because of the recirculation, but you can. So you can try to push these in with your finger, just like that. But as I said, these balls are tiny, and using the magnetic screwdriver, it's not this thing must have been accidentally magnetized. And to make it even easier, you want to do this near the center where the rod is going to flex the most. And you just want to pop it right in there, just like that. So it really makes it easy. Hey, Matt, how you doing? Skewed View, recommend it. Hi, Quentin, how are you? Welcome to the channel. So we just finished putting the balls back into this bearing. We stripped it completely down to nothing, washed everything in an alcohol solution, and just got the balls back into the bearing block. And now we're about to put the wipers back on. I think they're called wipers. They're basically some rubber bits with these little teeth that are going to keep anything from getting into the bearing channel. Somewhat keep anything from getting into the bearing channel. Yeah, nice to meet you too, Quentin. Do you have a lot of 3D printer, and or you're into 3D printing, or maybe CNC? So let's see. I'm not fully tightening these. I just want it snug. Make sure these are dry. Now, when you're putting these on, you'll notice one side is discolored. That's the side you want against the block. The other side faces outward. You got any projects going on right now, Matt? I watched your video where you made your mom a gift. I really liked uh, you know, just kind of seeing her receive the gift, and kind of getting kind of like that inside view, so to speak. So we're going to go ahead and feed this back onto the rail. And again, you want to watch the bearings as you do this. If they start to bunch up at all, you might be putting some sort of pressure on it. Let's see if I can get some light on this. So you just want to watch for any of these to bunch up. So far, so good. And that's it, once it gets past that. Now, right now it's really rough because there's no oil in there. So before we run it up and down this channel, let's put some oil on it. Again, the Super Lube, it's got the perfect size applicator for this. And let's go ahead. Right now that's all air bubbles. I'm just trying to get some in there. Okay. And I'm going to do the other side. Let's see. Get rid of some air. Before I lose the end of this block. Alright. That's all air. There we go. Okay. And we will just get this to kind of lubricate a little bit. CR10, Ender 3, and Alpha Wise U20 Plus. That's cool. Yeah, the CR10 and the Ender 3, they get a lot of attention these days. So, and you do, after you oil it, you do want to kind of like run this on both sides, because the oil is going to, the way the channel works, it's going to go to either, wherever gravity takes it. So if you don't flip it over, you'll be oiling just one side of the block. You can also do a sanity check, although not recommend it once you get it successfully assembled with no missing ball bearings. But and this is not going to come through on camera, but you can look at the bearings and see if there's any oil on them. These are, so the bottom ones actually have oil on them. These other ones don't seem as oiled, and it might have been because I started on one side first. For the heck of it, I'm going to put just one drop of oil right there. I know it's bad to do. It's okay. I'm going to do it. All right. So, just making sure it gets all run through and everything. And as I said, your bearing block should have one gap. The gap should be about one bearing. Or at least every bearing block I've seen has it that way. But that's what it should be. It should be 33 balls in these on each side, so 66 per block. And yeah, looking good. Feels something always down here, I don't know why. You want to be very careful with your rails. The slightest nick on that rail is going to obviously be felt throughout, so you definitely want to be careful with it. Okay, so that's pretty much it. These 6 rails are going to go into the R3D, or Project R3D Railcore II 300ZL kit as put together by Alien3D. I guess Project R3D puts a kit together. Let me switch over on OBS to my other camera. You printed a knife from the Scream movies. And fan film. Nice. I like Scream. That's a good one. So let me go to this scene. Yeah, so that's going to be pretty much it. We'll go through, or these are all going to go into the Alien3D Railcore. The kit is still provided by Project R3D, so you still get the support through them, and you're getting the more or less the same printer, although the Alien3D kit has some very nice features picked out for you. So you'll save a little bit of money with that and still have a top-of-the-line kit. So I'm looking forward to doing the build. I might start the build tomorrow. I might do a live stream build of that. Also tomorrow I'm doing a live stream of a skewed view Shulm. I got some fans in for rebuilding his hot end on his printer. It is the TiVo, which one? TiVo Tornado, which I think is like similar to a CR10. So I'm rebuilding that hot end with a Mosquito, and those fans are for the part. Actually, he only needs one, but they come in packs of 4, and we'll be soldering those on. So that should be tomorrow as well. and we'll just see how it goes. But I do want to thank everybody for watching. Let me see if I missed any last bits on this chat here. So again, everybody who did join, you know, Kit, Quentin, Matt, you do it. I think I saw Raz. Let me see, one Raz. So yes, thank you so much. And there was one other person in here, Andreas. So thank you so much for joining. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. I'm looking for subscribers. I just hit 100 today, so I'm excited about that. So and tune in tomorrow. We'll have more 3D printing work. It's mechanical work, but it's still 3D printing related. So thank you so much. Have a good night.